episode 77.
Hey, this is John Lee Dumas of EO Fire, and you're listening to Who Did That Voice, where we take an in-depth look at voiceovers.
Ready to take a vacay, but you just don't have the time to plan? Let the agents at 3D Travel Company pamper you and take care of all the little details. Find us at www.whodidthatvoice.co and click the Book Now button on the left-hand side. For a limited time, Who Did That Voice listeners can receive a Disney gift card for qualifying Disney and Universal trips, booked and traveled by 2017. Hurry and book today so you can travel away.
Welcome to Who Did That Voice, the show where we take an in-depth look at voiceover. And now, here's your host, Trenton Larkin.
Hey everyone, just wanted to let you know we have launched a Patreon page. You can find us at www.patreon.com/whodidthatvoice. What is Patreon, you say? Well, it's a lot like a Kickstarter or Indiegogo campaign that allows you to help support us on a monthly basis. For as little as $1 a month, you can help support the show and earn amazing perks. Help us out today and join the Who Did That Voice family in a new way. Hello everyone and welcome back to the show. Today's special guest is best known for voicing Evie Frye, one of the Frye twins, on Assassin's Creed Syndicate.
You have my word.
Miss Frye, your passion is inspiring.
Jacob, is this serious?
I'm not doing anything until this gets fixed.
You're not aiming high enough. Starrick has influence in every branch of society. We need to match him.
I see what you're saying, Evie. We need the Rooks.
You are not starting a gang called the Rooks.
Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Who Did That Voice. Today I am so pleased to be bringing you Victoria Atkin. Victoria, thank you so much for joining me on the show today.
Thank you.
Well, it is a pleasure to be speaking with you this morning. And, you know, the very first thing I always like to do when I have a guest on the show for the first time, Victoria, is just to get to know them a little bit. So tell me about little Victoria, the young girl that grew up into the woman she is today, and how she became an actress, and more specifically, a voice actress.
Well, what a big question. I don't know. You know, I always wanted to do it. You know, I have pictures when I was young, just singing and putting on shows for my family and friends. And you know, ever since I can remember, I was performing, and we had. I remember my living room. We had this electric fireplace, and I would stand in front of that, and the sofa would be in front of that, and that was my first stage. And many times, and roped my friends into doing made-up shows and singing and those sorts of things, and was always extremely, you know, imaginative with made-up games and things like that. So I was always doing that and singing. My family used to always be amazed by the fact that I knew every word to every song in the car, and that sometimes I hadn't even heard them.
Wow.
So yeah, I always wanted to do that, and you know, had a little diary when I was a kid and was writing I want to be an actress before I could spell it. So that was
That's awesome.
Yeah, there was a destined path. So
oh, that sounds so sweet. Well, you know, the very first thing that we're really going to dive into beyond who Victoria was as a young girl is the character you played on Assassin's Creed Syndicate, which I'm a huge fan of all the games. I've played every single one of them.
Oh, good.
And I actually just started playing it within the last, you know, few months. And I was like, you know what? Who voices this Evie Frye girl? Because she is pretty amazing. And so I reached out to you and was so pleased that we were able to connect. But tell me a little bit about that work for your Assassin's Creed, and what was that like for you getting to work on such a mega franchise for a video game?
Well, you know, it was a world that I really wasn't very familiar with at the beginning. My manager said to me about self-taping for it, because as well as the voice, I did all the motion capture and the facial capture. So the full performance is my performance. So it came to me as an acting job, really. And I didn't know, as Ubisoft are very secretive with their projects, as they have to be.
Yeah.
I didn't know what it was for. So I just knew that I was creating some sort of, you know, Lara Croft type character that was set in Victorian England, and that really was it. I didn't even have scripts from Assassin's Creed. I had different scripts and was just, you know, creating this character that apparently I would, you know, a few months later begin filming. And yeah, I mean, I didn't know until 4 auditions in that it was for Assassin's Creed.
Oh, wow.
And at the time, I didn't really quite know what Assassin's Creed was, if I'm honest.
Hey, yeah.
So it was, you know, the video game world now has become very important and significant in my life. But yeah, I you know, as soon as I got Assassin's Creed, it was a kind of game changer for that world.
So, no pun intended, right? Game changer.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
literally. That's awesome. Well, you know, Evie Frye, when I was playing her, like, no offense to her brother Jacob, but my gosh, the way she moves and some of the stuff she does, it's the most advanced game that I have ever played with the Assassin's Creed. Of course, it's the most recent until the newest game comes out this year. But it was just the way she moves and the way that she would attack people. I was like, holy cow! Like they have made these characters so more realistic and amazing, and the facial features are just blowing me away. And she's such a pretty character, and she speaks so powerfully, and she's just a wonderful character. You know, the thing I love about Evie is that she's really the first playable female character in one of their main franchise games. Now, they've had a couple other female characters too, I believe, in some smaller version games, but this is the first female assassin in one of their main franchise games, which is a huge thing for that franchise.
Yeah, and I mean, what a great way to introduce it, and I think Ubisoft were very brave in bringing that, and I think it was very needed and necessary at the time, and the, you know, economic climate right now, and I think it was just a good time for it.
Oh, yeah.
And I've only ever heard of good feedback about it, so I'm pleased, and I think Ubisoft did the right thing.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. And I love that they're twins, and I love that you can switch between the characters, because every time I get a chance and it goes back to Jacob, I always switch back to Evie because I love her fighting style better. And she's just so smooth and elegant, and she's more stealthy, and he's more abrasive and just go at it kind of with stuff. And I love the way that Evie uses her cane in the fighting style and everything, and she just like grabs people by the neck and swings them around, and it's like, holy cow, that's amazing.
Yep. Yeah, she's pretty stealthy.
Yeah, and you bring such an amazing life to that character, and it's so wonderful that they do the motion capture now, because you're fully able to not just do the voice like you said, but bring life to the character's face and body and the movements and everything. So it truly is an essence of who Victoria is, bringing Evie Frye alive.
Yeah, I mean, I prepared it like any other acting role, and it was a great opportunity to do motion capture for the first time, something that I hadn't done before. And, you know, it really did. It had a lot of the skills that I'd been learning through my career all brought together. And I wasn't really aware that motion capture would be something that I would be very good at and kind of find very easily. And a lot of people and a lot of other actors said to me that it's tricky for them to do that. But I mean, I think the background that I had, I'd been in the sport a long time, and I'd done a lot of movement and very interested in the voice. And it really was like, wow, yes, this is exactly what I feel like I've been training individually for. So it was really, really great. And I just enjoy it. I really like motion capture. It's a hybrid between theater and film, which are my two great loves. And it was just brilliant to bring those things together and to create Evie under those circumstances, and, you know, live in this Victorian England. So I got to do the historic kind of period piece as well at the same time as doing action, and it was great. Really, really wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, have you yourself had a chance, Victoria, to actually play some of the game, or have you not?
I played it a long time ago when we were doing play tests.
Okay.
A long while ago now. And we were adding some improvised lines and things. The idea of the train sequence, and I think I say something about it smells like Jacob's cooking, and we were just adding, you know, our essence and our things that we know about the character and things that it might say.
Yeah.
Along when they were, you know, finalizing and playtesting the game. But yeah, I just heard some great feedback, and, you know, I get to meet fans at Comic-Cons and conventions, and like I said, I've only heard great things about people's experience of playing it.
Well, thank you so much for diving into Evie a little bit with me. She is super special to me, and I love that Ubisoft has finally brought a full-fledged female assassin to the games. I would love for their next game to come out, after 2017, to be just all about a female assassin, like the full game, because I think it was fabulous. It was really wonderful to see that, and her strength as a female assassin was just unparalleled in anything I had seen in previous games. So
yeah. Did you get to play the Jack the Ripper game?
I haven't played that section yet. No,
you get a little taster of that. You get to play just as Evie throughout that game.
Okay.
So if you enjoyed the main game, I'm sure you will enjoy that. And you do for the first time. Just get to play as a female character throughout the whole thing. So
fantastic.
You get a flavor of that, but I agree it would be great to have female assassin full game.
I think it's fantastic, and it really shows more diversity among the assassins and the storylines and concepts that they can do in the future, because so many of the stories they've done so far to date come from a man's perspective, which is more typical in some of the things throughout history that we would expect. But I think through the female perspective, we can see a different side of history that may not have been explored or touched in the Assassin's Creed games as much before, when we take it from the side of an assassin that's a female. So I think it's awesome. I think there's a lot of opportunity.
I think female stories are very prevalent in the climate right now, and I think it's interesting because it's 2017 and it seems such an archaic thing to be bringing women's stories to the forefront in this this day and age, but apparently it hasn't happened yet, and now it is happening, and I think it's just really great. It just gives an alternative viewpoint, and it's fun, and I think female characters and women in general have different ways of looking at the world.
Oh yeah.
And it's nice to see that on the screen. I think with Evie having the romance with Henry and trying to, navigate her life as an assassin and do, honor her work, but also honor her heart, and all these different aspects that you do get it with male characters, but they really dived into it with Evie, and I think that was a good angle to come at it as.
I totally agree. I really do. Well, Victoria, another game you've been a part of was Titanfall 2, and you played MP Pilot in that, I believe. Is that correct?
Yeah, I played a pilot on that. I did some voiceover for Respawn Entertainment and Titanfall and Warner Brothers.
Well, that is fantastic. I have dived into Titanfall 1. I'm behind on all my gaming, but I've got Titanfall 2. I haven't touched it yet, but I'm so looking forward to it now that I especially know that you're in it. It always makes things more realistic for me, and I hope for my listeners as well, when I have someone on the show that is in something that they might be involved with or play or watch or whatever it is. It makes things more realistic for me knowing, oh my gosh, I've had someone on the show that's been in this. It just makes it that much more special when I play it or watch it,
Well, great. Yeah, I have a couple of new games coming out as well. So
fantastic.
I don't know if you're familiar with Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I just finished doing some motion capture for that. So
wow.
I have an add-on pack called The Frozen Wilds, and I play a new character in that. Actually, two new characters. I just voiced another character for them too.
Oh, fantastic.
So I'm excited for that to come out. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, great. When can we look for that to be coming out?
I don't know if they have a release date yet, but I think it's definitely going to be before the end of the year.
Okay.
So, yeah, search Horizon Zero Dawn, The Frozen Wilds. They discussed it at E3 this year, but I'm not sure that there's a release date. I don't know.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, at least we got a little preview of something else that you're working on game-wise, and that is fantastic to know. Thank you so much, Victoria.
Yeah, of course. I love that game. The graphics. Have you played Horizon Zero Dawn?
I have. Yeah. It is amazing. The graphics are stellar.
Yeah, and Ashley Birch, who plays Aloy, is a good friend of mine, and she's just wonderful as a person, but also as an actress to work with. It was great to get on the motion capture floor with her and have some fun with some other women on that game. So it was really great.
Absolutely. And with Star Wars doing a lot of motion capture, this new game, maybe you'll be able to be on a Star Wars game in the future as a Jedi or as a trooper or something,
Yeah, I've been in for Star Wars a couple of times for different roles, so I'm sure that will happen in my career at some point.
Oh, that would be epic, Victoria. We'll definitely have to have you back at that point, especially because Star Wars is so big for me.
Oh, yeah?
Absolutely. Well, tell me, Victoria, when you were growing up, was there a favorite cartoon or a character maybe that you really grew up loving?
Wow. Well, I used to watch a lot of Nickelodeon
Okay.
as a kid and Cartoon Network and those things. Later on, it was kind of later on because we didn't have cable TV straight away. And obviously I grew up in England. We weren't having that much American TV. I don't know. I loved Hey Arnold. I loved so much Doug. Remember those?
Yeah.
I don't know
I
if you guys,
love Doug.
you
Yeah.
remember those?
Doo-doo,
Yeah, all of the
doo-doo.
animation. Yeah. Doug and Hey Arnold were really good escapisms. I liked that. I liked Helga and Hey Arnold. She
Yeah.
was so bossy, but was really had a big heart. So that was quite funny.
Yeah. And Doug and Hey Arnold
yeah.
have a lot of parallels. I can kind of see why those meant something to you because they're very similar-esque in their styles, but they're both uniquely different, you know?
Yeah.
That's
Oh
awesome.
God, I haven't talked about those things for a long time.
You're
Yeah,
like-
those were good. Those were great.
It's like taking you in a time
I'm
machine.
sure there was other things. Yeah, right. Remember those days when I was waiting for my mum to get home from work and supposed to have been like tidying up. I'm sitting watching Hey Arnold and Doug with my sister.
It's that moment when she starts clicking the door, unlocking, and you're
Yeah,
like
you're like,
turning
"Oh,
off the
no."
TV and running around like you're trying to look like you've been cleaning.
that really is exactly what it was.
I know.
Fluffing some pillows or something.
Oh, hey,
Yeah,
Mom, I've been
having
cleaning all
doing
day.
that. Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, Victoria, thank you so much for diving into that. You know, sometimes the cartoons and the things that we watch as a kid kind of inspire us as we grow up into adults. And, some of us stay children at heart. And I think especially voice actors have to maintain that in some essences because of the characters that they end up voicing and playing in their careers. You have to have this childlike sense to do motion capture, to do voiceover, to just, be yourself and be silly and create these awesome voices that become so epic. And you're just doing a job, but it may turn into someone's passion and desire that changes their life forever for whatever reason it may be.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. I'm very childlike, and I like being that. As soon as you're on set and the camera's rolling, or you're in a voiceover booth and you're doing those things, it really is a magical experience, and I think that's why so many people do acting and enjoy it, because it is, when you guys get the finished product, it's an escapism for you, but whilst we're doing it, it's an escapism for us.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's win-win.
Absolutely. Well, and talking about escapism, kind of going back to Evie real quick, the one thing I think I absolutely love about Assassin's Creed games are that it takes us through history, and you get to see these different places that you may have never been to. You get to feel like you're actually there. You see the way the houses might have looked, the people would have dressed, the way everything is structured. It's just so amazing. And then they build these amazing characters into these amazing stories that twist fiction and truth and history. And it's just so wonderful to see how they combine everything at Ubisoft, and so many different perspectives and religions and beliefs. And, just the diversity that they bring to the world of gaming is amazing, but the historical side of it too is just stellar.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of my favorite things about preparing the role of Evie was the historical research. I would go to Beverly Hills Library and just get out books on Victorian England and look through pictures and try and, place myself in that. And it was, just how people lived back then,
Yeah, absolutely.
and how the world was so, so very different, but yet the qualities and the things that people still struggled with, or, romance or whatever. I mean, the themes and the things of people's lives were still very much the same,
Yeah.
the human emotions and the human capacity to love and fight for what they believe in. And, all those things are very similar, but it was a very different time of living.
Yeah, so it's kind of like as the technology and things around us advance, those things kind of alter how our lives are lived, but who we are as people has really never changed.
Yeah, I mean, I think the basic, human emotions of anger, jealousy, love, all those things that, they don't change. It's just the external, circumstances.
I agree. I really do. Well, Victoria, do you have any social media or a website, or how can people reach out to you, whether they have questions or maybe they even are looking to hire you for a project in the future?
Well, yeah. On my website, which is victoriaatkin.com, there's a list of my representatives, my agents and things that look after me. And also at the bottom of that, it has my my social media. So I have Instagram, Twitter, and a Facebook page. My Instagram and Twitter are just my name, Victoria Atkin. And I believe my Facebook page is the Victoria Atkin. But yeah, like it and tweet me. I like to do fan art Fridays sometimes. So I really enjoy looking at the fan art from Assassin's Creed and the other games and that I've done and the other TV stuff that I've done. And I'm also very excited that I have a new television show coming out in October called Extinct,
Oh, cool.
which is a sci-fi TV show which I'm playing the female lead for, and it's written by Orson Scott Card, who wrote Ender's Game.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, you guys are
Sweet.
going to really like that. And it's you just download, if anybody has a Roku TV or Apple TV or any device with apps, you can just download a free app called BYU TV.
Okay.
And there are going to be 10 episodes starting October 1st.
October 1st. Fantastic.
10 hour-long episodes. And basically the premise is that the human race has become extinct and they're reviving human life. And I am one of the reborns.
Oh, wow. That sounds pretty epic. I can't wait to see that because I'm a huge sci-fi fan.
Well, go to, I think it's www.extinct.tv and you can watch the trailer.
Oh, cool. I will definitely have to check that out for sure, Victoria.
Yeah, check that out today.
Well, you know, one of the things I love to do on the show, Victoria, is ask the kind of advice that you might have for someone who's looking at getting into this crazy world of acting or maybe even voice acting if
Don't
that's
do
a
it.
niche.
That's my advice. No, I'm joking. It's brought me a lot of laugh. But my advice really is if there's something else that you love as much, really go do that because it's not an easy career.
Yeah.
But if, like myself, you can't see yourself doing anything else and you get up every day and being on set is like a drug, then you must pursue it because obviously the world needs to see what you have to offer. But I would, voice acting, I tend to stay away from how to be a voice actor. I never trained to be a voice actor. I never thought about that. I just learned to be an actor. Yeah. And I study acting and it's, I love it. I love the craft of it. And I train in theater. I still, maintain my theater training and like to look at plays and bring those things to life. So I would say get a good grounding in acting. Find a good drama school or a great teacher that can provide you that and study with books and the great literatures and, just immerse yourself in that. Stay away and watch great films, watch great television and listen to other actors that, will talk about their craft and share what they have. And ultimately, everybody's going to bring different things to the table. But yeah, you should ground yourself in acting. If you can become a good actor, then you can work in all different mediums. Yeah, you can have a great voice and you can do commercials, but if you want to do animation or you want to bring characters to life, you really need to learn how to act.
Absolutely. Well, I think what you are saying there with the background in acting is really good because, I grew up in theater in high school and some in college, and the acting that you get from theater is so much more real because you're in the moment and you can't just cut and retake, you have to just go with it. And I really like the advice you gave with us today, Victoria.
Of course. Yeah, my pleasure.
Well, the last and final question I have for you today, Victoria, is what is the legacy that you want to leave behind?
The legacy I want to leave behind. What a great question. I just want to be remembered for bringing fantastic characters that were able to change beliefs and provoke thought. I was very lucky to play the first transgendered character on British television as my first television role in England and did 134 episodes as a character called Jasmine Jason Costello. And from then, playing Evie to be kind of the first female assassin in playable in the Assassin's Creed franchise, and then this new character, Fina, that I'm bringing to life in Extinct. Just being able to bring bring women to the screen that feel real, or you know, in this case, a transgender character that feels real and people can relate to and people can understand and escape through that. So I just want to provoke change and change of thought and reflection and introspection through the characters that I bring to screen or bring to video games or whatever I end doing.
Absolutely. I think what you desire to leave behind as your legacy is absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, and entertain, you know. I want people to have fun. I wouldn't mind doing a bit more comedy now and again. That would be good. Just to make people laugh. That's always a good one. I did a show for HBO called The Girl's Guide to Depravity, and that was fun to play this interior designer who was a bit like Meryl Streep in Devil Wears Prada. She was very bossy, but it was quite funny to do and fun to do. You know, so yeah, make people laugh and change thoughts. That would be great as a person and as an actor.
Absolutely, Victoria. Well, Victoria, it has been an absolute honor and pleasure having you on the show today. I cannot thank you enough. Would you please give us a special closeout today as Evie Frye?
Yes, I will. This is Victoria Atkin on Who Did That Voice, and I just want to say as Evie Frye, welcome to the family.
Well, everyone, I sure hope you enjoyed today's episode with Victoria Atkin, the voice of Evie Frye from Assassin's Creed Syndicate. And if you did, please find me on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram by searching Who Did That Voice. I would love to hear from you. You know, a question you might ask yourself is, where can I listen to Who Did That Voice? That's an excellent question. You can hear us on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, TuneIn Radio, YouTube, and our website at www.whodidthatvoice.co. Click the Episodes tab and listen away. Well, everyone, that's all the time we have for this episode. Join us this Friday for our next special guest, Dale Wilson, the voice of Jakal from Mummies Alive. You won't want to miss this episode. Hey, do you ask yourself who did that voice? Well, if you do, go to our website, www.whodidthatvoice.co, and click on the Episodes tab. Choose an actor, pick their name, and see pictures from the different characters they've voiced in their career.
Thank you for joining us today. We'll see you next time for more discoveries on Who Did That Voice.